we launched a business model, the low cost over long haul, which everyone said is impossible to do. All the experts in the industry, the big global giants, Ryanair, Southwest, EasyJet, all said, we don't do this. Everyone who's tried to do it has successfully failed. And we pushed the boundaries of risk so far, we're now into insanity. We had to literally set up a separate company, get our own licenses, and most importantly, to invest in something that was very capital intensive, we had to match it with a different set of shareholders who are much more private equity, venture capital, who are risk takers. So you got to match your risk capital with the riskiness of the new venture. We started by questioning every single assumption, and that was my only qualification coming into this role, which was to basically ask why and why not. And we turned everything upside down, kept challenging ourselves to the nth degree, and figure out, look, why is it that other airlines do this? Is there a real reason? And always coming back down to the first principle of what is it that the customer really needs versus the nice to haves, and reconstructing an entirely new airline model that no one had really thought about. We didn't have the answers. No one has the answers. There is no best practices. We were writing the rules as we went along. So with that as the premise, right, the culture from day one was, try, move fast. We believe the philosophy is do 10 things. 6 out of 7 right, we're doing very well. Key is when those 3 or 4 things go wrong, just change tact fast. Don't worry about what went wrong or who's to blame. Just keep going ahead. Going from 5 years ago, we just had this crazy idea, starting it up, and now we're actually moderately successful, and we're planning an IPO, right? Because we want more money, more capital to grow, and suddenly we now have to say, oh, how do we behave as a public listed company? The Pricewaterhouse, PwC people are coming in and say, well, you have to have a risk management system. It sets this tone of saying, well, identify your risks and then figure out how you mitigate it. It forces you to think about commonality or conformity with how other people do it. One of the big risks that the PwC people bring up is oil prices. We then thought about, look, the answer is not so much about whether you hedge or not, because you might gain plus or minus 5 or 10%, but can you radically change the amount of fuel you burn per passenger? And so we focused on a whole bunch of unique initiatives.
Towards efficiency.
Towards efficiency, right. So today, for example, at AirAsiaX, I don't know of any other airline that runs at 2.1 liters per seat per 100 kilometers. So if you fly AirAsiaX, you're burning less fuel carbons than a Toyota Prius. It's interesting because as a leader, I feel the one thing that really keeps me up at night is figuring out how do you keep that unique culture of being open, being willing to accept and question alive. I worry about that so much more than I do about any of the other external stuff, the oil prices, the global financial crisis, and all this, because that is just about a circumstance, and if we out-execute the competition, we can deal with it. But our ability to out-execute the competition means we have to always be this nimble and adjusting. And while it works when we're a smaller team, how do we scale that up, especially once we start becoming global?